What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to a brand new video. So in the last Atlanta Hawks rebuild that we did, we basically blew the team up into smithereens. We traded everybody, including Trae Young, DeJounte Murray. We traded pretty much everybody that was left on the roster. But today, the Hawks, of course, have made everyone available other than Trae Young and Jalen Johnson ahead of the trade deadline. So I wanted to go ahead and take on the challenge of hitting the reset button around those two guys, keeping them, keep building around Trae Young, and see what we can come up with. We're going to hop on to 2K today. We're going to trade away DeJounte Murray still. We're going to reset this whole thing around Trae Young, continue to build around him, and see if we can make a championship team around Trae Young. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys drop a like on this one and subscribe if you're new to this channel. As always, greatly appreciated. We're getting closer and closer to the trade deadline. You guys know how active I am when the trade deadline happens to come around. Trade season is right around the corner as well. We already had an OG Anunoby trade. We were on that as soon as possible. And then when another trade happens, of course, you guys know I'll be on that as soon as possible again. But here we go. The Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, Clint Capella, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Jalen Johnson, Okongwu, DeAndre Hunter, Sadiq Bey, AJ Griffin, Bruno Fernando, Patrick Mills. Obviously, we're going to pretty much make everybody available here other than Trae Young and Jalen Johnson. I'll probably try to keep Okongwu as well. I think he's definitely a guy that would make sense to keep around. So we're basically going to try to reset this bad boy. So like DeJounte Murray, Clint Capella, Bogdan, maybe even DeAndre Hunter, Sadiq Bey. Like these guys are all going to be available. We're going to move them, reset things around Trae Young, and see what we can do. Now, one thing I won't be doing today is I will not be getting Pascal Siakam. I've talked about him so much as of late. I'm just going to avoid him today, although I know the Hawks are very interested in him, and they may get him, but I'm going to go ahead and not get him today just to switch up the content a little bit. So I will see you guys, of course, at the moment it happens, at the deadline, where we're going to start blowing this team up, or not blowing it up completely, of course, resetting things around Trae Young, rather. There's a bunch of teams that are apparently interested in DeJounte Murray, so we should have no problems trading him, but we'll see when we get to the deadline what moves we'll be doing to go ahead and reset the roster on Trae Young. Today's video is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a player props app that's available on mobile or desktop. The way Prize Picks works, not only do they have NBA, they have all kinds of other sports, including hockey, football, golf. They even got esports on here, MMA. They got all kinds of stuff they can go ahead and play some entries on. So basically, how it works, you choose between two to six players. 2 players being 3 times your entry, all the way up to 6 players being 25 times your entry. So if you think DeJounte Murray, who we're talking about today, of course, is going to go over his points, you go ahead and click the over on that projection. If you think Bruce Brown is going to go ahead and hit the over on his projection, you click more on that projection. It's that simple. It gives you an extra sweat while you watch whatever sport you want. It's a lot of fun. If you want to sign up for Prize Picks, use code Crushables to match first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And the way I use Prize Picks is DGF's correlation and optimizer tool. So here's the optimizer tool. Basically, it compares discrepancies across multiple sports books. So right now, Ernest Jones, obviously, they play Sunday night against Detroit Lions. This isn't like the greatest example in the world, but there is one other sports book that is listing him at 9 rather than 8.5. So you're getting a discrepancy there. So you go ahead and click over on his tackles on Prize Picks. And there's a bunch of other apps you could do it on as well. There's not a ton of good examples on the board at the moment, but trust me when I tell you, line shopping is definitely a game changer. So if you want to go ahead and check out any of the tools that the Optimize or that DGF offers, both links are down in the description below, including their YouTube channel where they explain more in depth of what this stuff is. Thank you to Prize Picks and DGF for sponsoring today's video. Back to the rebuild. So the first trade we're going to be doing is sending Clint Capella over to the Dallas Mavericks. If you take on Tim Hardaway's contract, we'll get a lot of protected first-round pick. The Mavericks get themselves another big man with Derek Lively. Obviously, this could help them out in their playoff run, whether they have Capella off the bench or Lively. There's not enough depth you could have as a guy like Clint Capella coming off your bench or starting, whatever you want to do there in Dallas. Offer me a first-round pick. I think we go ahead and do this. We get Tim Hardaway as well that we can always flip down the line. So this is the first trade we're going to be doing. Easiest trade I've found in the trade finder. Only team that offered me a first-round pick as well for Capella. So we're going to go ahead, do that trade with Dallas to start things off here. So Clint Capella is gone. Now, Okongwu has a clear runway to be the starter as the big man now, which is nice. But we are obviously far from done. We got more work to do. We're also probably going to go ahead and do Bogdan Bogdanovic next. All right, so the next trade we're going to be doing is sending Bogdan Bogdanovic over to the Oklahoma City Thunder. We're basically just gaining assets here at the moment. We get Davis Bertans' contract, and we get a 2027 top 5 protected Nuggets pick. So Denver obviously expects to still be good at that point. Jokic probably isn't going anywhere. I still think they'll, I mean, I guess 2027 is far away, but, you know, Oklahoma City has tons of picks. They'll be fine. They get a guy like Bogdan Bogdanovic at the deadline using Bertans' contract. Now, of course, the Thunder could explore, you know, a higher ceiling at the deadline if they do decide to make a move. Who knows if they will. But I think getting Bogdan for Bertans and a one of their first round picks, I don't think is the worst thing in the world. It also to me would make more sense if they gave away like a pick that was actually like projected to not be very good. Like 2027 is just so far away, you just really don't know what's going to happen. So let's say it was the lottery protected Miami pick instead. I think that would be a little bit easier for the Thunder to get rid of, and they do agree. So we don't have to take the Denver pick in 2027 because who knows what's going to happen in 2027. If I'm Oklahoma City, I'd rather keep that rather than obviously having that Heat pick that is lottery protected. So we get that for Bogdan. We get off his contract. He goes to Oklahoma City. Next guy is probably like DeAndre Hunter. I wouldn't mind trading him as well. And I think everyone else I'm not too worried about. So I think the next two guys are going to be DeAndre Hunter and, of course, the golden prize, DeJounte Murray. Now, we haven't really brought anybody back that we're keeping around yet, which I'm still going to try to accomplish in the DeJounte Murray trade, maybe even in the DeAndre Hunter trade, because obviously we're still trying to be competitive with Trae Young. We may not do it this season. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, I think, to take a step back. But the goal is to build a championship team around Trae Young. Got to find guys that can help us with that. The Hawks feel like they're going to move on from DeJounte Murray at the deadline, so let's go ahead and move. I mean, I guess we got one guy here, Tim Hardaway, who's not a bad player, but I'm not sure we'll keep him long term. We'll see. But I'm going to go ahead and move probably DeAndre Hunter next. When it comes to DeAndre Hunter, we're actually going to try to do a swap with the Charlotte Hornets. Obviously, Terry Rozier is having a fantastic season for the Hornets right now, but it would make sense for them to move on from Terry Rozier, in my opinion. And the way we get Terry Rozier and what we're going to do with him is we obviously could keep him for a bigger trade down the line, or we could come, have him be a six-man off the bench. I don't really envision him starting next to Trae Young, but I think he'd be a great six-man for this team. So DeAndre Hunter and Saddiq Bey go over to the Hornets for Terry Rozier. I think two guys that could fit like really well around LaMelo Ball for the future. We don't have to trade a first-round pick either. I don't plan on paying Saddiq Bey, which is why I like the idea of getting Terry Rozier here as a six-man for us going forward. So Terry Rozier, feel really good about bringing him in. He can move to the point guard spot, and he'll be a backup point guard for us off the bench with Trae Young, which I think is going to be huge to have a guy like him that could score as much as he can off the bench. So I love that trade for us. We move on from DeAndre Hunter's contract. Saddiq Bey can go to Charlotte. I think DeAndre Hunter, Saddiq Bey will fit really well around the Hornet or around LaMelo Ball as well. So I felt good about that trade. And last but certainly not least is going to be DeJounte Murray. We got to make sure we accomplish a lot in this one. There's a bunch of teams that are interested, like the Lakers apparently. You got the 76ers who are dipping their toes in it. There's a lot of good teams that would like a guy like DeJounte Murray. So I'm going to leave him at shooting guard because that's where his best value is. We're going to go ahead and move him. We got to make sure we get the best value possible here in a DeJounte Murray trade, because this is going to be obviously the thing that changes the most about our franchise. So my first attempt at a DeJounte Murray trade is going to be with the Philadelphia 76ers, where we walk away with 3 first-round picks here and Kenyon Martin. Morris, of course, is just going to be the salary filler in this trade. But I think getting 3 firsts and Kenyon Martin would be a really good bang for our buck when it comes to the DeJounte Murray trade. It gives us a plethora of first-round picks that we could try to use in the offseason to make a trade around, to get someone here next to Trae Young. So yeah, this is my first attempt. Let's see what they say. They want a live protected Kings pick. They'll give me Furkan Korkmaz. You know what? I'm not totally opposed to that. We trade this Kings pick that's live protected, although it would be nice to have that Kings pick next year. So we could find a way to keep a first-round pick out of this. I would be absolutely fantastic. I'll trade both the seconds I have left and see if they would agree to that. Let's see. They agreed just like that. We walk away with 3 first-round picks and Kenyon Martin Jr. I feel really, really solid about the deadline we just had. Now, obviously, we didn't bring anybody too crazy back that we feel absolutely confident about, going forward, but this is our way of taking a step back. We go ahead and hit the lottery. We reset things. We have Trae Young, Terry Rozier as a 6-man, Tim Hardaway, AJ Griffin gets a start now, Jalen Johnson, Okongwu. So we have a few things accomplished, which feels good to have gotten done at the deadline. A lot of work still to be done, but I feel decent about what we did at the deadline to go ahead and reset this bad boy. So I will go ahead and see you guys at the end of year 1 now that the deadline is officially over. Trae Young, I know your team's going to be really bad this year, but I promise you, we're going to be cooking something up once we get in the offseason. So the reset button has been switched, which is really nice, as we have Jalen Johnson winning most improved player. We'll absolutely take that. That's awesome to see. 12 points and 7 rebounds. Obviously, Jalen Johnson is here to stay. Trae Young, All-NBA second team, 28 points per game. Love to see that. And here is how the stats finished out around our roster. So you had 28 from Trae Young, 22 from Rozier, 15 from Hardaway, 12 from Jalen Johnson, 9 from Okongwu, with 8 rebounds and a block, and then 8 from AJ Griffin, and then 8 from Marcus Morris. So let's go ahead and see who goes on to win the championship really quickly. So we got Philadelphia going to make it all the way to the conference finals, but still lose to Boston. Mavericks and Celtics, and the Mavericks going to win the championship as they got Clint Capella from us, of course. So, yeah, pretty interesting. Player retirements, LeBron James going to override that one time so he can go to Utah or whatever he's going to go to, or Toronto. He always signs somewhere like that. But draft lottery, of course, is going to be an important step for us. We are projected Sacramento's pick, but obviously that is protected in the lottery. Now, this is the last year I think the Hawks own their pick, which is why it could make sense to also hit the reset button now. That way, in the future, you don't have to, because next year their picks are owed to like the Spurs and so on and so forth, like pick swaps because of the DeJounte Murray trade. So, obviously, we're hoping to get some luck here in this lottery. Let's see what happens. We are going to get number 9. So, not ideal as Sacramento gets number 1. That's actually insane. So, we get all the way. We kind of get screwed, and this is the risk you take, obviously, and trying things like this, but we get the 20th overall pick as well from Philadelphia, and we get the 9th pick. So the lottery sometimes does not go your way, so that is why, you know, being really bad can be risky in the NBA. Obviously, in the NFL, you're guaranteed whatever pick you finished as bad as you were, but in the NBA, you got a lottery process, and this is sometimes what happens. So, fortunately, it did not work out for us, but hey, we still had the 9th overall pick. It's not like we can't get somebody good there. Of course, we could also trade it if we feel the need to as well, so we'll kind of see what our options are once we get into the draft. So we're going to sign our coaching staff, fill it out completely. I'm going to keep Quinn Snyder because it's not really his fault. We were like really bad. I think this team needed a reset. 9 and 8, and then all these future first round picks, which is nice. So we have reset things. We have Tim Hardaway's contract still. We could even accept Davis Bertans' team option, I think, to keep his salary if we wanted to. So we definitely have some expiring salaries to make a move if we feel the need to. So let's jump into draft and let's see who falls to our lap. So Alex R is going to the Kings. Number 2, Buzelis. Number 3, Ade Mara. Number 4 is going to be Nikola Toppin. Number 5, Isaiah Collier. Number 6, Justin Edwards. Number 7, Ryan Dunn. And number 8 is going to be Stephon Castle. So I know who's still available, and that is Ron Holland if we decide to take him. We also have Donovan Clingan. I honestly may take Donovan Clingan over Ron Holland. I know Ron Holland is the better player, but I took him in the Grizzlies video. I think it would be nice to switch things up here. So I'm going to go ahead, take Donovan Clingan. I think that gives us a good big man rotation with him and Okongwu. So feel good about that. So Clingan, welcome to Atlanta. We pass on Ron Holland. My apologies if that upsets you. And then we're going to go ahead and take, we're going to take Elliot Caldwell. We take Kyle here if we want to. Gary Diaw, Zach Edey as well. I don't really know much about the guys left. I guess we got Bronny James. Maybe LeBron James would sign to Atlanta. That'd be kind of wild. Actually, wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. We get LeBron James to come to Atlanta. You know what? We'll see if we can make it happen. I don't even know if we're gonna have the cap space. We probably won't, but I'll draft Bronny. So, we are going to have Clingan and Bronny and feel decent about that. So, welcome to the team, both of you. Player options, Bertans. I'm actually tempted to accept it because we can use Hardaway. I'm gonna accept it because we have some expiring salaries we can use. As I elbow my desk, I always seem to do that. Qualifying offers, we're gonna extend those or not extend those. And then LeBron James, we weren't even close to having the money, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But Morris, obviously, we're not worried about resigning them. We do have an MLE, which is gonna be useful, obviously. But so looking at the team now, we have Kobe Buffkin, Bronny James, we have Hardaway's contract. So obviously, we need to make a move, which is what we're going to do. We're going to make some type of move. Jalen Johnson, Okongwu are going to be starters. AJ Griffin, I wouldn't hate being a starter, but he may not be good enough yet. And then Hardaway, obviously not someone I want to see start next year. So we need a shooting guard or a small forward. We need a wing, which is what we're going to be looking for. So I'm going to go cook up a trade, hopefully, and find something that's going to fit perfectly around Trae Young and hopefully get somebody very, very good. In order to take this team to the next step, there's 2 guys I'm looking at. They're both on the same team, and I think both of them make a ton of sense next to Trae Young. Now, I'm not really sure which one or either if this team would be willing to trade, and it is the Pelicans. I want either Zion or Brandon Ingram. I think those are the 2 guys we should be looking to get in a trade right now to pair next to Trae Young. I know Zion would have the higher ceiling for us, obviously, 23 points per game. He is locked up long-term. There is a reason for the Pelicans to move Zion because of, obviously, questions about his ability to commit to, a diet or whatever it may be, or just, caring enough about basketball. You guys know what I'm talking about. I don't really need to go in depth about it. But then Brandon Ingram also would not be a bad option. He's on an expiring contract, which would kind of make sense if the Pelicans want to move on from him. But obviously, if I want to shoot for the stars here, I got to go for Zion. Zion's got to be the guy we try to get in this to pair next to Trae Young. We got to shoot for the moon here. We got to reset things. So let's see if we can find a way to get Zion on this roster. So Tim Hardaway and Davis Bertans' contract are going to be in here simply for salary filler, right? And then we got some assets we could throw in here. So like Kobe Buffkin, we got Okongwu Klingen. I wouldn't mind throwing AJ Griffin in here if that's what it takes. Bronny James is 1.5. Okay. And then AJ Griffin, 2-star. And I assume that Kings pick is going to be very valuable. I assume it would be anyway. 2 stars. Only 2 stars. Miami pick, not so valuable either. What else do we got? We got a Rockets pick, not valuable. And then we got a Spurs pick. Okay, it's got some value. So we'll go with that one. And then we'll throw AJ Griffin in here as 2-star. Okay, got to keep all that in mind. All right, so we're going to go ahead and throw Mohamed Gee's got 1 star. Let's see if I can just throw another pick at them. So let's say, actually, I feel like it's more than fair for like Bronny James being here if it needs to happen. So I don't know if this gets a Zion. I'm looking at this. I have a feeling it's not going to be enough, but we'll off. Okay, we got Zion. Wow, I did not think that'd be enough. We got him. So Zion Williamson is on the Atlanta Hawks. This is the kind of trade Atlanta can make for a big swing. Is the Hawks or are the Pelicans going to move on from Zion? I don't think so. I don't know, but there has been some talks about it this season, but they've lately quieted down. So does that mean we move Jalen Johnson to 3? We do. Johnson goes up. Zion goes up as well. I mean, technically Jalen Johnson's taller. It doesn't really matter. I think I'll keep Jalen Johnson at the 3 and Zion at the 4. It doesn't really matter. So we feel good about having Zion now on this roster, and that feels fantastic. So now we have Rozier as our 6th man. We have no shooting guard at the moment. We could use our MLE in the second. AJ Griffin off the bench. We have a backup 5 and Donovan Klingen. So we definitely need a shooting guard and a small forward to fill out the rest of the rotation, or a shooting guard and a power forward rather. So first and foremost, a shooting guard is going to be the most important. So Buddy Hield to me makes a ton of sense as a fit here. Unfortunately though, he would go down in overall. I know he like regresses pretty badly. We got also Grayson Allen, Jordan Nwora. Or we could also look at this route. So we got like Kevin Porter Jr., Bill Noel. So I don't really like any of these options. Anthony Melton might be our best option at the 2 spot at the moment, which is okay. It doesn't suck. I think I'll be fine with that. Or even Lonnie Walker wouldn't suck either. So I think I'm going to go with DeAnthony Melton. We're going to sign DeAnthony Melton to a 3-year deal to be our starting 2 for now. And we'll be happy with that. So DeAnthony Melton, welcome back. And then we can go ahead and try to see whatever power forward we can get. Come off our bench. So we can bring Morris back. We can bring Osman in. Slow-mo. Haywood Highsmith. I'll give Haywood Highsmith a contract. It might even go up in overall potentially. Still young enough to maybe do so. We have some trade exceptions if we wanted to go ahead and try to use those as well. But I think I'm good. I think I feel pretty decent about that offseason. Melton isn't like my ideal starting 2. But I mean, what we could do is move AJ Griffin around if we wanted to. I know he might go down if we move him to 2 guard though. Haywood Highsmith. So yeah, I feel decent about this. I think getting Zion is exactly the kind of trade we needed. So we can go to player progression now and see what this is looking like. Steph Lundy's back, but we got Zion up to a 93. Trae Young, for whatever reason, at 25 years old, regresses. Okay. Okongwu, 82. Jalen Johnson, 81. AJ Griffin up to a 76. Haywood Highsmith does not move. So our depth definitely doesn't look as good as I would want it to, but I still feel decent about it. Like, it's still a good team. And eventually, if we need to, we could trade Rozier if it's necessary to do so. I'm going to try to keep Rozier for as long as possible because I do like him off the bench in the role that we have him in. So we'll just kind of see. We'll fill it out. So let's look at this rotation, though. I feel really decent about this team. Power skill is 12th overall. Proficiency is a 4-star, 7 seconds. And here is your roster. So Trae Young, D'Anthony Melton, Jalen Johnson, Zion, Okongwu, Rozier off the bench with AJ Griffin, Donovan Klingen, and Haywood Highsmith and Beverly. I'm just going to simply run a 9-man rotation with a 50 bench utilization. So that looks good. I really like this team. Shooting guard definitely needs upgraded eventually, but other than that, I feel really, really solid. Of course, we could just start Rozier at the 2, but I do like him off the bench rather than starting, in my opinion. So we're going to leave that the way it is. I will see you guys at the deadline or at the end of the season, depending on how things are going. Hopefully this team absolutely succeeds, and I will see you guys as like a top team in the playoffs in the East. That'd be awesome. So at the end of year 2, this season goes a lot better than I even anticipated, but, Luka wins MVP again. We'll get to that in a second. Alex Star, Rookie of the Year. Draymond, 6th man. Wembanyama, Defensive Player. Amin Thompson, Most Improved. And Jokic is your Clutch Player of the Year, as Jason Kidd is your Coach of the Year. Harrison is your Executive, and that is currently it. So All-NBA First Team, Luka, Jokic, Halliburton, Trae Young, Anthony Davis. So Trae Young makes it All-NBA First Team, averaging 29 on 46% shooting from 3 with 11 assists. Zion makes an All-NBA Second Team. So obviously, as I mentioned, we could have gotten Brandon Ingram, but I don't think he would have made the impact that Zion is currently making on this roster. So feel really good that we, went for Zion rather than Brandon Ingram. And we finished up as the first seed in the East. So things went really, really well. So here are your player stats. You had 29 from Trae Young, 29 from Zion, and 18 from Rozier. 12 from Jalen Johnson, 11 from Okongwu, 9 from Melton, 9 from AJ Griffin, 7.5 from Klingon, and then 2.5 from Haywood Highsmith. So yeah, really good season. But obviously none of that matters if we don't go very far. So we get to play the Hornets in round 1, who have LaMelo Ball, Bruce Brown, DeAndre Hunter, Washington, Mark Williams, Brandon Miller, Nick Richards, Cody Martin, and Ryan Dunn. Really solid team in Charlotte. Obviously, they are the A seed, though, so I'm really hoping we don't get bounced here. So let's just see what happens in the current round. And we are going to go to a Game 7 with them. So it looks like we may not be ready to be a championship team, potentially. We get the first seed, and I'm looking to maybe lose to the 8th seed here. That, happens to me quite often, which is really unfortunate. But right now we have the lead. As long as we hang on to, we're moving on, and we do thankfully hang on. We only beat them by 4, though. Zion with 34, Trae Young with 23. Get Detroit in round 2. We have K, Jaden Ivey, Asar. They got Sadiq Bey back, Jalen Duren, Marcus Sasser, Wiseman, and Bojan. All right. Somebody come around against the Detroit Pistons, and we are going to go down 2-1 to them. So it looks like we're having some problems already. They want to start AJ Griffin, looks like, over, Jalen Johnson, which if that's what they think is for the best, we can go ahead and do just that. So let's see if we can come back in this and even this series up. They have the lead right now, and it looks like they are going to run with it and get a 3-1 lead on us. So fortunately, it looks like we may not be ready for the moment here. We got the first seed in the East, but we were very much exposed in the playoffs. So not ideal at all. It's not really what I want to see, but really good season. But unfortunately, it comes to an end to Detroit in round 2. Okay, got Oklahoma City and Detroit. And Detroit almost beats the Thunder. They go on to lose to the Thunder in 7. But I think what we can do is we could buckle down and we can go ahead and, wow, Pelicans get 1 and 2. That's actually insane. But I think, traded pretty much all the picks that we had. We may have a pick. I'll double check. But yeah, disappointing playoffs. Absolutely disappointing. Really, really sucks to get bounced around 2 the way we did when we had such a good, obviously, regular season. But it just happens to me often. It's not even really too surprising. So let's get straight into the bench. That's kind of where I'm going to try to focus the most. But obviously, I want to make sure I didn't have a draft pick. We did not. So player option, Adrian Griffin, of course, will accept that. Jalen Johnson, pretty much a must re-sign. So we're not even going to obviously think twice about that. So we'll go ahead and offer him an extension. That'll be taken care of. And then now we just need to focus on the bench. So who could we bring in that would make a big impact? So obviously, Rozier is fine. I think we need a 2-guard again. I think 2-guard makes the most sense. Even power forward makes sense as well. So either way, we really can't go wrong with signing either position. So we can sign LeVert. We can sign Hardaway back. We can sign Jaden Hardy. I actually wouldn't hate Jaden Hardy. Trey Lyles also can make some sense. Santi Aldama. Out of all these, I do like LeVert or Jaden Hardy or even Robinson or KCP. Like, there's a lot of good options here. But I do think I'm going to sign Jaden Hardy. I think he'd be the best player we can get. He would absolutely be a really good bench player for us. We'll sign Jaden Hardy. I feel good about that. And then power forwards, we can sound like Kendrick Williams if we want to, but I guess we're good with Haywood Highsmith. So Jaden Hardy is our big addition this offseason. We're pretty much going to run it back. AJ Griffin should be better. Jaden Hardy should be better. And then Klingon should go up in overall. So some of these young guys should go up in overall. We're still a young roster. So our window is like still wide open. I'm not really too upset, that we lost last year. It does suck. But, with the progression on our side, anything is possible. So Hardy is up. Klingon is up. Everything is looking good. Even Melton is up. So really solid team. We're going into next year with our head held high. Obviously hoping for a really good regular season again. But this time different playoff results. That is the hope. So we're going to get in next season. We'll see how things go. Hopefully this year is our year to go win a championship. So here we are at the end of year number 3, where Cooper Flagg is on the Pelicans now with Brandon Ingram and whoever else they took. So the Pelicans are going to look really good. But All-NBA first team, we got Zion making All-NBA second team, and then Trae Young that is not making All-NBA team, I think. I didn't see his name. So no All-NBA team for Trae Young. Well, it's a little unfortunate, but we still are the first seed in the East again. So once again, another really good regular season. But of course, none of that matters if we can't come out here and compete in the playoffs, as Jaden Hardy averaged 16 points per game for us, which is nice. So obviously, we're hoping this is our year. So we'll see how that goes. We got the Knicks in round 1. And I'm going to go ahead and just shrink this down to an 8-man rotation. Let's just play our 8 best players off rip. Actually, no, we're not, because that moves Klingon out of the lineup, and I think I do want to play a little bit here. So we'll see how it goes against the Knicks. They have Miles McBride, DiVincenzo, OG, Randall. With no Jalen Brunson, I would hope that gives us the advantage here. They have Brogdon now, though. Somebody current round against the New York Knicks, and we are going to Get out of the first round, which is nice. I was a little nervous there. They're coming back, but now we get the Hornets, who obviously gave us problems last year. And now they have Cade Cunningham with LaMelo. That is a very interesting backcourt. Wow, this team is tall, bro. This team would be very lengthy. You got 6'7", 6'9"? Is that what? Or 6'6"? 6'7". You got 6'7". Like, this is a very lengthy team. 7 foot, and then obviously Mark Williams, even DeAndre Hunter, 6'8". Like, this team, Bruce Brown, obviously, you know, he's only 6'4", but we know what he's capable of. So it's gonna be an interesting team to beat, to play. Somebody current round against the Hornets, and we are going to be down 3-1. So we're gonna lose to Charlotte, who gets Cade Cunningham. Why couldn't you just resign? And the Pistons with no Cade Cunningham are still like really good, which is kind of bizarre. But here we go. Maybe we can come back from 3-1. That would be beautiful if we could. Let's see if we can do just that. So far this game was in our favor, but the Hornets take it, and we are going to lose to the Hornets in round 2. So we have not been able to get on round 2 so far. We got Charlotte and Oklahoma City. The Thunder go on to beat them. So I guess we've lost to the team that has made it to the finals every time. If that makes us feel better, I don't know. But got a huge offseason ahead of us now. I don't know if I want to do too much, because I like, this team is really successful in the regular season. It's not translated to the playoffs, though. I guess the one thing we can do is maybe get a different coach. We can get Adrian Griffin, who is AJ Griffin's dad. So, I mean, Nick Nurse is here. There's a lot of good options. Mike Malone, Tyronn Lue. Give me Adrian Griffin, though. I don't know if he'll sign. So we might just get Quinn Snyder back as well. That's not the worst option in the world. Just go ahead and get him back. He's still a really good coach. Nick Nurse, I'll offer on, and then I'll probably just also offer, obviously, Quinn Snyder. So that will be our big move this offseason. Tyronn Lue, Nick Nurse, and then Quinn Snyder. We'll get him if we can. So yeah, we actually get Adrian Griffin. Okay, so he gets to coach with his son. We'll grab this assistant, and that will be our coaching staff change. Now I can go straight to player options and see what we're working with. I don't think we had a draft pick, but let me double check. We had the 18th overall pick. We got JJ Starling. So actually the CPU cooked a little bit. So we got some good players that actually could help us. Oh, wow. Trae Young's team option. I'm going to accept that. So this will probably be the last season that we do. So let's make sure we take full advantage of what we are able to accomplish. So I'm going to sign AJ Griffin back, and that will be it. So we need to make sure we upgrade our 2 spot. I think our 2 guard needs upgraded, and that's kind of where I want to focus. So Jaden Hardy, D'Anthony Melton, it's great and all, but I would love to have a better 2 guard 100%. So I think that's what we'll look for, and this will be the last trade that we'll have to make, hopefully. Quentin Grimes strikes me as like the perfect guy we could use right now at our 2 guard spot. So I'm going to see if the Knicks are willing to move, obviously, or move Quentin Grimes, or yeah, move Quentin Grimes to us. So I'm going to offer D'Anthony Melton and also JJ Starling. And, that actually might be quite a lot. Let's see if I can include someone else who's cheaper. Mohamed Gee maybe can be in this trade instead. So D'Anthony Melton, Mohamed Gee for Grimes. They say no. I'll offer this Clippers pick is unprotected. Okay. Second round pick. Say another second round pick. If I have to throw a player in here, I will. But no, we get Quentin Grimes. So Quentin Grimes struck me as the perfect 2 guard to go get, in my opinion. So I feel good about that. And then last but certainly not least, power forward, we could just get Haywood Highsmith back. But I also wouldn't mind trying to find a better power forward. But I don't know if we'll be able to do that. So let's say we do Starling and Collins we just drafted. We can get Jonathan Isaac at a first round pick. I mean, we just need depth. So I think we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and get Jonathan Isaac to be our backup power forward, and that gives us some more length. So that was our final moves. We got Quentin Grimes, who I think fits perfectly for what we needed. So I feel good about it. So hopefully we can go straight to player progression and feel good about our chances going into the season, and hopefully cook this season. We got a really good regular season every time, but obviously the playoffs have not gone our way. So I will see you guys at the end of year number 3 or 4, whatever year this is now, and we're going to see if this is the year we get that championship. So here we are for this final season, hoping things are going to go our way this year. As this year we don't get the 1st seed, we only get the 2nd seed. But hey, maybe that's a good thing. I guess we'll see. So 28 points from Zion, 24 from Trae Young, 15 from Rozier, 14 from Hardy, 11 from Okongwu, and then 10 from Donovan Clingan, and 9 from Jalen Johnson. So here goes nothing. Charlotte in round 2. They no longer have, or no, they actually added Shaedon Sharpe with Cade Cunningham. So don't know how Charlotte is doing everything that they are doing right now. They have Cam Thomas as well. Like, what? How on earth are they really affording all this? I have no idea. I would love to know the sorcery they are, getting done right now, but whatever. Cam Thomas, yeah, he's the one that signed the minimum. Okay. Well, and then Brandon Miller probably still on his rookie contract, which makes sense. Okay. We can eliminate round 1 here. I would not be too shocked. Let's just go ahead and submit current round. And this time we're going to sweep them. Why couldn't we have done that last year? I don't understand. Philadelphia in round 2. They got Nembhard, Murray, Dante Exum, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, Kyrie Irving. So they have Kyrie Irving instead of Tyrese Maxey. But he's not even starting, which is kind of weird, but whatever. Somebody come around against Philadelphia, and we're going to get eliminated round 2. So we can't even get out of round 2 today. So that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it where the Clippers 2.0 can't get out of round 2. Thank you guys for watching, or Philadelphia for that matter. This is Crushables. See you on the next one. And peace. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you click here to watch another video that I know you'll love.